So this Saturday night, Bellator 276 from St. Louis, Missouri. In the main event is a featherweight matchup between Borics and Mads Burnell. The winner of this fight could definitely be next in line for the World Championship, of course, held by AJ McKee, or I guess the winner of AJ McKee versus Patricio Pitbull. In the co-main event, Phil Davis, Julius Anglickas at 205. Mr. Wonderful coming off the win against, of course, Yoel Romero. And for Anglickas, getting that shot at the World Championship against Vadim Nemkov. Obviously did lose that fight in Phoenix, but both those guys are back in the co-main event. This Bellator card on Saturday night, of course, we got 12 fights on it. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more Bellator here on the channel. Just yesterday, we posted our full card predictions video with the main event being Thiago Santos and Magomed Ankalaev. So go make sure to check that video, of course, for the UFC card this weekend, UFC Vegas 50. And also, for the first time, we're going to be predicting an Eagle FC card. So later today, in about 3 hours, Eagle FC 46, Lee versus Sanchez. Yeah, that's a real thing. We're going to be breaking that entire card down in about 3 hours here on the channel as well. So be on the lookout for that video along with the UFC one as well. So we're going over the first 4 fights on the card real quick. I mean, Cody Law's fight's technically the 4th one on the card, but I'd rather talk about that one individually. You're just going to go real quick on some of these. First fight of the night, Dan Bush and Josh Augustine. Going with Dan Bush to pick up the win. He is 4-1. It'll be his first fight under the Bellator banner. For Josh Augustine, he's 5-2, hasn't fought in Bellator just yet. I mean, yeah, Dan Bush is the better fighter. He's 33 years old, making his Bellator debut. Still, though, I think he should be able to pick up the win by decision. That fight, of course, is at welterweight. Our next one, Jordan Howard and Trevor Ward at bantamweight. We haven't seen Jordan Howard in a while. His last fight in Bellator was all the way back about 3 years ago. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. He is 10-5. His last win all the way back to Bellator 181. So it has been a minute for Jordan Howard, and he hasn't fought again in 3 years. The problem is he's taking on a guy who's 5-5 in Trevor Ward. This guy's not very good at all. His last win came 4 years ago. His last fight came 3 years ago. I don't know what we're doing with this fight, honestly. Jordan Howard should win. I got him by first round knockout. A lot of guys got him by decision. I think Howard can pick up the win by knockout. Our next fight, we got Roman and Kelvin. Like Roman to pick up the win by first round knockout. This one kind of, I mean, speaks for itself. He's 6-0 coming into this fight. Picked up two huge wins in Bellator so far. Both of them by knockout. I think this fight against Kelvin Rayford is going to be the exact same thing. So we're going Roman by first round knockout. And then our final fight out of the first 4, we've got Ashley Dean, fighter who's 5-6, taking on Diana from Russia. Diana is only 23 years old. She's 4-0 so far in her pro MMA career. She's looked very good so far, picking up 2 straight wins in Bellator. Last one coming 6 months ago. It was only a split decision victory, but the thing is, she's fighting a fighter who's 5-6, who's just lost to UFC fighter now in Jasmine Jasdavidius in her last fight in CFFC. Dean lost pretty decisively by unanimous decision. She did pick up 2 wins before that on back-to-back fights, but against not the best opponents. He had fighters 4-6, and before that 1-1. She lost to Julia Avila all the way back 3 years ago in HD Promotions. Still, though, I like Diana to win this one. It's a women's fight, so likely not a finish. I mean, Diana does have heavy hands from what I've seen, but I think she'll be able to pick up the win by decision. So those are the first 4 fights. And here's that Cody Law fight I was talking about. Cody Law has been great so far in Bellator. He's 5-0. All 5 pro wins are with the Bellator promotion. I mean, the last 2 being first round knockouts. His 3rd fight in Bellator won by decision. Before that, 3rd round KO with ground and pound, and then a Darce choke finish before that. Cody Law is great on the ground. His ground and pound's really good. He can work for submissions as well. Again, he hasn't fought the best guys in Bellator so far, but I mean, they know what they're doing with Law. He's only 26 years old, building his way up into the higher ranks, of course, of the Bellator, of the Bellator 145 division. He's taking on James Adcock in this one. Okay, I'll keep it a buck with you. I don't know who the hell this is. Like, do you? Because you're lying if you know who James Adcock is. I mean, okay, I'm purely just looking over this guy's record. I mean, okay, he's beating guys who are 1-1. He lost to a guy who's 2-0. Beat a guy who's 0-1, 0-4, 0-7, 0-10, and he started off his pro career winning 2 fights and then dropping 3 in a row to guys who were making their pro debut 1-0 and 2-0. James isn't the greatest, right? James has been subbed twice so far in his career, or actually 3 times so far in his career. Okay, I mean, everything points to Cody Law taking him down and absolutely dominating him on the ground. I like him by knockout just because I think the ground and pound's going to be able to work well for Cody Law. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants in this fight. It's a classic Bellator prelim fight, though. Cody Law is going to win pretty decisively. Now we've got Romero Cotton taking on Freddie Sandoval. I mean, this one's pretty easy to pick. I mean, Romero's not losing this one. I mean, he's ranked number, 6 in Bellator right now. He trains at AKA. A very good wrestling base. This is pure domination, guys. Freddie Sandoval, who is this guy? I mean, honestly, who is Freddie Sandoval? He's 5-6-1. This is just such a typical Bellator fight. Now, I know Romero Cotton was supposed to take on Lance Wright. It's not like he was going to lose to Lance Wright anyway, but the thing is, Freddie Sandoval hasn't fought an MMA fight since 2009. What are we doing in KOTC Underground 44? Romero Cotton, by any way possible, I mean, he'll probably be like a minus 5,000 favorite going to this one. I think he'll win by first round TKO. I think it'll be a quick takedown and then ground and pound, because that's honestly what Cotton does. He's an AKA guy. He's really good. I mean, this is a nothing fight. Romero Cotton, first round TKO. Again, his opponent hasn't fought since 2009. I mean, come on now. Next up, we got Derek Anderson taking on Gochi Yamauchi. For Derek Anderson, I mean, his last fight, he wasn't doing that bad against MVP. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Now he's getting beat. What am I saying? MVP just beat him up for a round. It was what Michael Venom Page does, really. Broken nose was the stoppage on that one for Anderson, but he was coming off a 3-fight winning streak before that in Bellator, the last one being a head kick knockout over Moda in the second round. And yeah, Anderson's been in Bellator for a very long time. His first Bellator fight was all the way back in 2013 on Bellator at 98. And who did he beat in that fight? Well, it's the 155-pound champion now in Bellator, Patricky Pitbull, just beating Peter Queally in his last fight, of course, with the promotion. But again, Derek Anderson's pretty damn good. He's 17-4. I mean, he's going to have to use his striking in this fight. He's going to have to keep this fight standing if he's going to want to beat Gochi Yamauchi, because that's what Yamauchi does very well. It's the ground game. It's him getting fights to the mat and working it for his submissions. He did just pick up his last win in 2021. It was over Chris Gonzalez. Gonzalez was 6-0 coming into that one. He got the job done in Pitbull versus McKee, of course, in the Forum in Los Angeles, winning that one by KO in the first round. Yamauchi is 26-5, and he's fought, of course, the best in Bellator. I mean, really, same with Derek Anderson. Anderson's fought some good guys in Bellator as well. I mean, he beat Pitbull twice. Patricky, of course, fought Marcin Held. He fought Brent Primus. Fought Derek Campos as well. But for Gochi Yamauchi, hell, he's fought Bubba Jenkins. He fought, Piccolotti's pretty damn good. He fought Michael Chandler, Whiteshell. He fought, Dan Moret. He's fought some good guys in the promotion. And now, was he successful against Jenkins and Chandler? He wasn't, but still, that just shows you how good Gochi Yamauchi is, just the caliber of guys he's been fighting in Bellator. I think he's going to be able, though, in this fight, I think he'll be able to take down Derek Anderson. I think he will be able to work for one of his submissions. That's why we like Gochi Yamauchi to win this one by sub in the second round. Now we've got Alex Polizzi and Jose Augusto really torn this one. It's a really good fight at 205 pounds, because Jose Augusto shocked a lot of people in his last fight. Now, did he lose to Anthony Rumble Johnson? He did. Then she got knocked out in the second round, but he had Rumble hurt in the first. Even Rumble said in the post-fight interview that he didn't even remember what happened because he got hit so hard by Jose Augusto, really showing you the power that Augusto's got. Now, the thing is, on that fight was that Augusto being really good, or is it just that, Rumble's kind of washed now? Of course, we never got to see him in Nemkov, but really, you just don't know, right? But he's taken on a guy here who has somewhat been proven now in Bellator, and Alex Easy Polizzi. His last fight was a win over Grant Neal. It was in San Jose. He was the underdog coming into that one, but outstruck Grant Neal when it mattered, entering the Bellator rankings with a big split decision victory, and before that, picking up an armbar victory. Before that, he lost to Anglickas, to Julius Anglickas, of course, before his win over Trujillo, losing that one by unanimous decision. Came into Bellator as well with a decision as well. Did Polizzi. So he's 3-1 under the Bellator banner. You saw in the Grant Neal fight, though, was able to mix in the takedowns with the striking. Looked very good in that fight and just barely edged out that decision victory over Grant Neal. And he's gonna have to do something like that if he wants to beat Jose Augusto. Now, Polizzi, I believe, is the favorite coming to this one, but Augusto does have power and his ground game isn't horrible as well. So it's a really evenly matched fight. I think it's gonna be, right down to the wire. I think it's going to be one of the closer fights on the entire card. That's why it was really tough for me to pick. I started off this video with this prediction. I had Augusto, but I switched it to Polizzi. I think Polizzi's going to win, just barely by decision, but it should be a very good one. Now we've got Gaji Rabadanov and JJ Wilson. Wilson, of course, undefeated so far. He's only 24 years old. One of Bellator's bigger young stars, I would say. And he just picked up a huge win over Pedro Carvalho in his last one, winning that one by ground and pound in the second round. He's now turning around. He's supposed to take on Adam Borics actually in August, but JJ Wilson missed weight for that fight, and now, of course, here he is against Rabadanov. For Rabadanov, he picked up his first win in Bellator over Daniel Carey, winning that one by knockout in the first round. He's a huge favorite going in that one. It was at catchweight 150. He picked up the win, and before that, he did have 2 fights in Eagle FC. He lost the first one for the lightweight championship over there in Eagle, and then he won the second one by unanimous decision against a fighter who was 10-7. Rabadanov also had, a fight in the PFL, beating Steven Siller by unanimous decision over there. And yeah, I mean, Rabadanov, of course, training at Dagestan. He's got a good ground game. His striking is all right as well, as you saw in his last win in Bellator. And the guy's got power. He's especially got power for a 155-pounder. But JJ Wilson, all around, is a very good fighter. I mean, JJ Wilson's ground game keeps getting better and better, and that's where he has won most of his fights. Of course, whether it be with the ground pound or with the submissions. On the ground, yeah, I just think all around JJ Wilson is the better, well-balanced fighter between him and Rabadanov. I think Rabadanov might have some moments of success in this one, and that's why I don't think Wilson's going to be able to go out and get a finish. But JJ Wilson, again, one of Bellator's younger stars that they are pushing more, and I think JJ Wilson's going to pick up the win, entering himself into the elite category. I wouldn't say elite, but the top end of the Bellator 155-pound division. So I'm not saying Johnny Eblen's the guy who's going to take the belt from Gegard Mousasi, but I think he should be next in line, because I think he's going to run right through John Salter. Like, I think Eblen's the next guy in line for the title. I mean, this man's been on a roll recently. His last win over Colin Huckbody was very good, winning that one by knockout in the first round. And then you saw his win over Daniel Madrid as well, that huge left hook. I mean, my goodness. And those hammer fists on the bottom were great as well, or on top. I mean, Johnny Eblen, he's got power. And of course, he came to Bellator with that wrestling base, and that's how he won most of his fights, was with his wrestling. But coming to ATT, did Eblen, since he's been in ATT, the power has shown, the striking has shown. I mean, so many improvements to the game of Johnny Eblen. He's taking on the former title challenger in John Salter. Now, Salter is coming off the loss to Gegard Mousasi. Mousasi dominated kind of how we thought that fight was going to go. Of course, Salter was in the UFC all the way back when he fought Dan Miller at UFC 118, Edgar Penn 2. He made his UFC debut back in 2010 in January. The main event was Gray Maynard beating Nate Diaz by split decision. Shout out to that fight. But showing you just how long Salter has been around. He came into Bellator, picked up a big streak of wins. He had that one hiccup against Rafael Lovato. Lovato, of course, went on to win the championship against Mousasi. Mousasi, of course, won it back after Lovato vacated. But Salter picked up a huge win over Chidi Njokuani, who's now in the UFC, beat Njokuani by rear naked choke in the first round. And if Salter's going to have a chance to win this fight, obviously he's going to have to find a way to submit Eblen, because I don't think he's going to be able to deal with the power on the feet, because Eblen does now have a whole hell of a lot of power on the feet. And I just think Eblen's striking is better than Salter. Salter's striking hasn't been great. But Eblen is a really good wrestler too. So Salter's just going to have to find a way to maybe submit him off the bottom. Yeah, I just don't think John Salter has too many pathways to victory in this one. This is a fight where Eblen's 100% going to win. I think he's going to come in there. He's going to blitz forward like he did in the Madrid fight. Coming out there, I think he'll finish John Salter pretty quickly. We'd like Johnny Eblen to come in here, pick up the first round knockout, bring on Gegard next. If Salter wins, I guess he'll get Gegard again, because hell, Sinead Kavanaugh is getting a world championship shot again, so I guess Salter could do the same. But yeah, we're going Johnny Eblen to beat John Salter by first round knockout. Co-main event time here at light heavyweight. It's Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, taking on Julius Anglickas. I mean, like, I could present to you a way Anglickas wins. I mean, keep the fight standing, or maybe does he have the advantage on the ground? I mean, grappling-wise, maybe jiu-jitsu-wise. But you know what Phil Davis does. I mean, Davis is such a good wrestler. I mean, he's always pushing the pace. He's always on top. And I just don't think Anglickas is going to be able to weather the storm. I mean, we've seen the same story with Phil Davis over and over again. You saw him in the Yoel Romero fight. Now, how that fight was a split decision, I don't know. I mean, how Romero thought there was 5 rounds to the fight. It was only a 3-round fight in San Jose. Now main events are 5 rounds, so when we get to Mads Burnell and Adam Borics, that fight is going all 5. Well, it could go all 5. But, I mean, Phil Davis in a 3-round fight against Julius Anglickas, all he's got to do is hold him down for 2 rounds, and I'm going to bank on Phil Davis doing so. I mean, Romero win was good for him. He lost to Vadim Nemkov in a fight where that was close. It truly was close. It was 3-2 for Nemkov, but Davis had his moments in that fight, of course, laying the takedowns and all of that. The Lyoto Machida fight, again, I mean, that was just Davis dominating. It was a split decision, but, I thought Phil Davis won that one pretty convincingly, 2-1 in that one. And yeah, Davis has been in Bellator for a while. He came in, he beat Emmanuel Newton in his first fight with the promotion, subbing him with a Kimura in the first round. Then he won, or he beat Liam McGarry, I believe. Yeah, it was Liam McGarry for the light heavyweight championship, because he beat King Mo before that in the tournament. Then he lost it to Bader by split decision. Then he fought Nemkov a couple fights later, beat Liam McGarry again. And where's Liam McGarry at now, by the way? Like, I don't think he fights anymore, right? But yeah, Davis has been pretty good so far in his Bellator run. For Anglickas, of course, coming off that loss to Vadim Nemkov, where he got subbed in the 4th round. And before that, for Anglickas, he picked up a bunch of different wins in Bellator. He ended up beating, we talked about earlier, Alex Easy Polizzi. He beat Jordan Young, who unfortunately now has passed away, but Young at the time was 11-0. Of course, his last fight in professional MMA was that win over Omari Akhmedov. But yeah, Anglickas has picked up a lot of big wins, honestly, in Bellator to start off his run. He had that win for Clay New York and LFA for the light heavyweight championship before he left for Bellator. Actually, he fought in the Contender Series, and then, of course, didn't get the contract, went to Bellator straight away. And, of course, now losing to Nemkov in his last fight. But, again, I see this fight being Phil Davis takedown, Phil Davis staying on top, rinse and repeat, kind of like every Mr. Wonderful fight. I think he's going to do the damn thing one more time. I like Phil Davis doing this one. I think he gets it done by decision. I think Anglickas will have his moments, but again, I like Mr. Wonderful to go in there, win the fight by unanimous decision. Main event time. We've got Adam Borics taking on Mads Burnell. Again, the winner of this fight, I think, should be next in line for the winner of AJ McKee and Patricio Pitbull. Before Adam Borics coming off that win over Jeremy Kennedy at Bellator 256, that was on Bader Machida 2, winning that fight by unanimous decision. He beat Eric Sanchez before that, and then Mike Hamill before that. That's currently his 3-fight win streak. Again, the Hamill win isn't all that impressive, and the Sanchez win isn't great, but the Jeremy Kennedy win, sticks out definitely amongst the other ones. Borics, of course, came onto the scene by knocking out Aaron Pico, I believe. I mean, that's really the fight that a lot of people started recognizing how good Borics is. Of course, Pico was coming off that loss to Henry Corrales where he got knocked out, and then Borics knocked him out as well. But Pico, has regained his footing in Bellator. Now he's going to be taking on Jeremy Kennedy, which is another tough fight for Pico. We'll see how that one goes later in the year. And then he beat Pat Curran after that. And so Borics, coming off 2 huge wins, took on Darren Caldwell and got subbed in the first round. And that could be considering how you look at Mads Burnell, very good on the ground. Adam Borics got subbed by Darren Caldwell. Just saying, right? And then Borics, again, those 3 straight wins. The Sanchez and Hamill wins, again, I will say it again, aren't great, but the Jeremy Kennedy win does look even better now, honestly, considering Kennedy's recent success with that victory most recently over Emmanuel Sanchez. As for Mads Burnell, he's also coming off a win over Emmanuel Sanchez, beating him by unanimous decision. Before that, beating Saul Rogers. It was on the Bellator 257 prelims. Took Rogers down in the second round, worked on the back for a while, eventually sunk into a naked choke and finished the fight. And that's what Mads Burnell is going to do to a lot of guys. Again, it's that pressure that Mads Burnell will bring. He'll combine his striking with the grappling and his wrestling. Puts together for a very well-rounded game out of Mads Burnell. He had a weird run in the UFC where it was only 3 fights, and he didn't, he just got the wrong end of the stick in the UFC. He comes in, he loses to Michel Pereira. All right, it's going to happen. Pereira is very good on the ground. It was Mads Burnell, I believe, it was his 10th pro fight, taking on a very good jiu-jitsu player in Pereira as he subbed him in the third round with the north-south choke. He turns around, he beats Mike Santiago by unanimous decision. Is Mike Santiago the best UFC fighter? No, I hadn't heard of Santiago in a while. I kind of forgot he existed, if I'm keeping it a buck with you. But again, that was a while ago. Main event of that card was Doohoo Choi and Jeremy Stevens. Tremendous fight, by the way. But that was main event of that card. And then he took on Arnold Allen after that. Now he got subbed by Arnold Allen by front choke in the third round. But Arnold Allen's fighting Dan Hooker next weekend in a co-main event in London, England, where if he wins, he's probably like 2 fights away from the championship. Arnold Allen doesn't lose. That was on Wonderboy and Till in Liverpool. It was just a tough fight for Mads Burnell, and they decided, we're going to cut him after that. So he goes to Cage Warriors. He picks up four huge wins over there, gets signed by Bellator. There's been no looking back since for Mads Burnell. Again, his last loss was that Arnold Allen loss. And in this fight with Adam Borics, if Borics is going to win, I think he's going to have to keep it standing. Borics got a good ground game, but it just doesn't compare with Mads Burnell. I think Burnell in this fight is a superior wrestler. I think pure grappling-wise, I like Mads Burnell over Adam Borics. On the feet, I do like Borics, but still Mads Burnell is a sneaky good striker as well. Again, not his primary focus in his fights, but he does, stand somewhat of a chance on the feet, even though, again, if they are striking throughout the entirety of the fight, Borics should win. But it's not a boxing fight. It's not a kickboxing fight. Mads Burnell is going to shoot for a takedown. He's probably going to land it, and I think he's going to consistently land it throughout the course of the fight. So that's why I like Mads Burnell to go in here. I think he's going to pick up a 5-round decision win, proving why he should be next in line for a world championship shot. Hell, he's number 2 right now. I think he should be next. Obviously, both these guys are at the top of the weight class. They're both in the top 5. It's a huge fight for the featherweight division, obviously, in Bellator, and we're going with Mads Burnell to pick up yet another win. Continuing his win streak that he started all the way back in November of 2018. He's going to beat Adam Borics. He's going to win a decision. I think Borics will win some rounds, but if I had to predict it, I'm going to go 49-46 for Mads Burnell beating Adam Borics in the main event here of Bellator 276 in St. Louis, Missouri. And folks, thank God for watching my Bellator 276 preview and predictions here on the channel. If you haven't yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. We'll be back in about 3 hours for Eagle FC. Kevin Lee versus Diego Sanchez in the main event, so make sure to be on the lookout for that video in the very near future. Give a look for watching, and Mamba forever.